I'm so thankful we have a wildlife garden, especially now we are older. We can just go out of our back door and we are immersed in our local countryside, be it on a smaller scale. It's the 26th of May and finally the long dry spell has come to an end. In the last 69 days we've only had 5/16 of an inch of rain, or 8mm. We've been away for most of the month, and when I've come back now the garden has grown, but it's very tatty now because we've had some strong winds and rain. So in the next few days I'm just going to tidy the garden up, still keep it in its wild state, but just make it look a bit more presentable, like more in a path through the lawn and that. Yesterday we think the blue tits have fledged, and we definitely know the great tits have fledged because we actually saw them on the ground. That's a bit of good luck. I've been trying to top my ponds up with the water butts, and it's a slow job, but I have got some more water in it because they've been extremely low. In the last week of May, our garden has responded to the rain, and its natural random self-seeding over the years makes it impossible to replicate. Nature does it best. My scree garden also, over the years, has done its own thing and just looked after itself. Our rowan tree this year has a new resident. A wood pigeon is nesting in it, but with all the gales, the nest was destroyed and abandoned. This is a time to potter in the garden, and today I noticed the blue tits were still feeding their young in the nest box and as yet hadn't fledged, but within the space of half an hour they'd all fledged and I'd missed it. The wild orchids are showing all around the garden, and with this windy spell the clematis need tying to prevent wind damage. I've left part of our small lawn unmowed. I think there's some dead babies in here, Audrey. Yes, they haven't all fledged. About 4 days since we saw 2 fledge, but there's another 3 in the nest. Oh no, there's 4 in the nest really, so we've lost 4. So at the maximum, probably 3 or 4's fledged. I'm going to take the nest out now and give it a good clean out. This is the blue tit nest that we put up a few years back, and yesterday morning they fledged. We didn't see them fledge, they fledged within half an hour. I'm glad to say that there's no dead young in the nest, so they've been successful even though the weather was a bit inclement with heavy showers. So we've had limited success with the great tits, but big success with the blue tits. Way back in 1974, the blue tits took to my bedroom window nest box, but then they didn't fledge until the 18th of June, a good 2 weeks later than today. I found this large container in a skip on the avenue, so I brought it back and I filled it with some fairly poor quality compost. What I'm going to do, I'm planting a load of nasturtiums in it so it'll flood over and it'll attract the bees and the butterflies. I've also planted verbena to attract the bees and butterflies. Again, I'm pottering around the garden and enjoying every moment of it. To everybody weighing up to whether to let their garden develop into a wildlife haven, just do it. The rewards far surpass the less tidy appearance of the garden. It's early June and I call this early summer. The garden, it's performing as I expected, and I'm not going to do a thing with it now. I'm just going to let it go and do its own thing with just the odd nudge from me. We've got the first orchids coming up around the pond, and I see we've got some damselflies flying this morning. I haven't mowed part of the lawn and it's surprising now how many wildflowers are showing. In fact, there's quite a lot of yellow rattle showing. I sowed the seed a few years since, and it's helping the grass to keep the coarse grasses down. So it's performing as I expected. As we move into June now, the garden is probably performing at its best now with a riot of colour. It attracts loads of insects and wildlife, but as yet I haven't seen so many. The odd butterflies flying through, so we'll just have to see now how it goes on in June if the weather keeps fairly sunny, which I don't expect it to do, living up here in northern England. The scree garden at the front of our house is at its best now, with all the usual alpine flowers now in full bloom. Down here at the front of the garden I've got a rarity here. I don't know what they call it. It's very difficult to grow. In fact, we'll only grow in gravel, but it's performed again now for the 3rd year. It's an absolute beauty, but it doesn't actually look like an alpine plant. Overall, I'm suited with it now, and within the next 2 or 3 weeks it will just slowly go over, but there'll be still some late alpines to take its place. Joel Ashton from While Your Garden has carried out a small but significant survey from one outlet online. In 1 month alone, they have sold the equivalent of 1,600 bathfuls of weed killer. Goodness knows what it's doing to our gardens and environment throughout the country, so please don't use them. My garden has thrived without them for over 30 years, and it can only be helpful for the wildlife I nurture in our garden. It's the 7th of June and we're into a very wet, unsettled spell. The garden has its beauty in every season, and when you look round there's always something to film. But for now I'm going to end the video and come back later in the month when the weather's improved. Even on this unsettled day, we've always got this precious area of wildlife right outside our door, and so let it continue.